How's it going, everybody? So Valve finally broke their silence and hit us with a huge update. There's been a bit of turmoil in the community over the last few weeks, mostly just because of Valve's poor communication and us not really getting any sort of decent updates. Now, that may have been because of the RMR going on at the time of the last few weeks, and now that it's over, they've decided to kind of just hit us with one larger update. They kind of trolled us. They went 2 weeks without really any communication, then just hit us with a full release note with one single fix, which kind of put a little bit of gasoline on the fire. But as you can see here, we have a huge update for February 6th. So it's a pretty awesome thing to see from Valve. They've addressed a couple of the community's concerns, made a few changes that I haven't really got to test out fully, but let's go ahead and dive into this and take a look at everything that they've done. I'd say the biggest highlight of this update is the fact that they are claiming to have reduced peeker's advantage in many cases. The amount of peeker's advantage in the steady state is reduced by 16 milliseconds. That is not insignificant. They've also reduced the frequency of situations that lead to very large peeker's advantage due to excessive command queue depth. This is fantastic to see. I'm so glad they're addressing this. Really great to see. I'm sure all of the pros at IEM Katowice are very excited to see Donk get a pretty decent nerf because the guy was absolutely crushing people as an entry. I mean, putting up better than ZywOo numbers while entrying, that is just absurd. And is that a result of the peeker's advantage in CS2? Probably not, because he was insane in CSGO as well. So we'll see. We'll see if he falls off a little bit off that. It's been really fun to watch him play. But yeah, so excited to see them reduce the peeker's advantage. I hope it gets closer to what CSGO was, even though, in my opinion, CSGO's peeker's advantage was still pretty rough. But with the movement speed and the way Counter-Strike is, it's hard to get it any better than that. But I'm glad to see that they're still working on getting that improved. I can't wait to get into the server, play a few matches, and see if I can tell the difference in game. Skipping back up to the top, probably the headline for this update is the fact that they've added back in arms race to the game. This was pretty controversial for them to leave out, along with a lot of the other more casual game modes. A lot of the community was just upset that Valve just seemed to give us a game that wasn't in the best state with less content than Counter-Strike Global Offensive. However, they've added it back along with baggage and shoots with a nice little CS2 Source 2 makeover. They look fantastic. They're pretty fun to play. You probably can see a little bit of the background gameplay that's been going on in this video. It's been fun to jump in and just try to win a couple arms race matches. I probably won't be playing this all too often, but it is great to see that option back for the players who really enjoyed it. And of course, with any major Counter-Strike update, Valve is going to find a way to monetize it. They've added in a new kilowatt case, which has some pretty cool skins. We're going to cover that a little bit further down in the video. I want to skip over that, talk more about the gameplay changes for now, but it is pretty cool to see that come in. Also, a huge addition and change to stickers. You can now place up to 5 stickers on guns instead of 4, and place them anywhere you want. That's going to probably have a pretty big impact on the skin market. So if you're into the hobby, you may want to watch out for that. They've also added in a new music kit, which is pretty cool. Always good to see that sort of content coming into the game. But what I want to talk about more is the gameplay changes made to the Zeus. Valve's also found a way to monetize it by letting you put stickers, name tags, and of course, there is now a Zeus skin in the new case. But they've made it to where the Zeus is rechargeable after 30 seconds. I don't know how much of an impact this is going to have on competitive because, hey, after you use it once, you're probably not going to get to fire it again in 30 seconds. You're either going to get the kill, pick up the gun, and use that, or you're going to miss and die. I can't think of any time where I've missed with a Zeus and then think, man, if only I could use it again 30 seconds later. But we'll see. You know, it's already starting to make more of an appearance in higher elo play, so we'll see if it makes it a little bit more viable on those eco rounds. There have been a couple of changes to smoke grenades, but nothing too significant to where I think it's going to affect gameplay. So moving on down to the gameplay section, let's take a look at some pretty awesome things that they've added. First and foremost, a great QOL feature. We now have a refund all button in the buy menu to where if you've ever, accidentally bought out and your team's like, hey, let's save instead, you can just click refund all and sell everything back all at once. Sometimes it can be pretty annoying to sell back all of your utility armor and everything like that. So, and you may also have more luck convincing teammates to sell back after they've forced, since it's not going to be as much to sell everything back. So a pretty cool addition by Valve there. They've also added the option to go ahead and disable first-person bullet tracers. I know that was pretty controversial at the beginning because a lot of people wanted to have that disabled. So now that option's there. I've always used it, so it's not really been a big deal to me, but I'm glad to see that all the players that wanted that can now disable it. Silencers can be reattached regardless to whether or not you have the detaching of them enabled, which is pretty good because a lot of times people would, detach the suppressor. Then when you would pick it up, you wouldn't be able to put it back on without enabling that setting. So a good, quality of life adjustment there by Valve. You know, skipping over a couple of these, I think a really important one here is various adjustments to sub-tick shooting. I don't really know what that means. I don't know how much they've improved it, or if they've improved it. You know, I don't know what type of adjustments they've made. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing other content creators get out there, test it, and see, you know, what exactly they have changed, and just if it does feel better in the server. They've also fixed a lot of different silent drops, which it was getting out of control. It seemed like every single place on every map had a silent drop that you could do, which I think is just really gameplay breaking. So I'm glad to see that, because the information of someone dropping down off of a position is certainly important to the game. And when there's silent drops everywhere, it just kind of, I don't know, it's just not a good thing in my opinion. They've also improved the smoothness of sliding along surfaces, which is definitely good. And they've also fixed the collision issues between players where they're jittery walking out of spawn. That is fantastic. I really hope that that is almost completely resolved now, because that is so frustrating, especially early round when everyone's scrambling around trying to get into early lineups and that sort of thing. A great change by Valve. Moving on over to sound, I would say the most significant change they made here was adding in the option to select an audio device for VoIP from the audio settings menu. It was really frustrating whenever your audio device would change and you would launch up Counter-Strike, and the only way to get your mic to work was to then relaunch. It was super frustrating jumping into a, you know, Premier match and talking to your teammates, they can't hear you, and the only way to fix it was to relaunch. That was just always really frustrating to deal with. I'm glad that that has now been changed, where you can just set it in the main menu. I would say the most notable change here in the miscellaneous tab is they have adjusted the range of CS ratings allowed to party together. That is definitely going to help out with some of the really weird and unbalanced matchmaking that you'll see every now and then in Premiere. And for me, I'm pretty excited about the fact that now there are improvements to animations during the demo playback. That drives me absolutely insane while making videos. And finally, before we end the video, let's go ahead and take a look at the new case. The new kilowatt case has been added into the game. I went ahead and picked one up just to go ahead and open it up for the video. I'm definitely going to lose money on this, but hey, it is what it is. I just wanted to check it out. The blues are kind of underwhelming. Nothing too special on most of these. They're just kind of clean blues, nothing out of the ordinary. Although I am a huge fan of most of the higher end skins here. The Op Chrome Cannon especially looks really cool. This new M41S, I mean, that thing just looks so beautiful. Pretty much every one of these higher end skins I think are just fantastic. So yeah, let's go ahead and open this thing up, see what we get. I'm sure we'll probably get like Dual Beretta's hideout, something horrible. But hey, we might as well take a look, see what the new case looks like, see if we can't pull something decent. I thought I got the Zeus skin, and I was right. I did get these Dual Berettas, which I think are just pretty underwhelming. But overall, pretty cool case. So yeah. And of course, they also added in the new knife. This thing looks incredible. The animation is so cool on it. It almost looks a little bit too floaty to me. It looks like I'm using the force to pull this thing out, but it looks awesome. I mean, there's no denying this is not an awesome, sick animation. The inspecs are pretty clean on it as well. I could definitely see this being one of the higher tier, more expensive knives, just because of how large the blade is and how clean the animation is as well. Definitely a cool addition into the game. So yeah, guys, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below what you think about this update. I feel like it's a pretty decent one, you know, in my opinion. They've addressed a lot of the community's concerns. Still no word on VAC or any decent type of anti-cheat, because Premiere is just unplayable at the moment at higher elo. I would just love to see Valve come in and give us a decent anti-cheat to work with. I just don't know how realistic that is at this point. They just seem to be tone deaf to the cheating issue, but I really hope they prove me wrong. Anyways, guys, let me know down in the comments below what you'd like to see next out of me and out of the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.